Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
And we welcome you back to Talk of the Town for this Tuesday, June the 1st. I'm Gary Stevens. It is the first Tuesday of the month, which means we feel the Zeel. We spotlight the city of Zeeland on our program today, which also means at this time that we have our monthly chat with the mayor of the city of Zeeland, Kevin Klynstra. He joins us via the Zoom connection. Kevin, good morning. Welcome back to Talk of the Town.
Good morning, Gary.
Glad you are with us. And if you have a question about Zeeland, Mayor Kevin Klynstra should know a thing or two about it. He is the mayor. 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Kevin, before we start talking about some of the things going on now in Zeeland, there might be some new listeners. There might be people who have moved into the area, and they may not know a little bit about why we say if you have a question about Zeeland, Kevin Klynstra should be answering it, because you have been on the city council. You have been a part of the ruling body in Zeeland, at least in the 2 decades I've been in this market, since 2001. It probably goes back a little bit further.
Yes, it's. I guess we could celebrate a quarter of a century on the city council. So I'm in my 25th year now. So and then I filed the paperwork to be on the ballot next November, and it doesn't look like I'll have any competition. So it looks like we'll have 25 and 26 coming up pretty quick. So.
And it is an election year, being the odd-numbered year where municipalities, mostly cities, have their elections. Townships have elections in even-numbered years. I don't know if you want to challenge Les Hoagland, your predecessor as mayor, for the length of time you are serving as mayor, but certainly Les has served the city well, continues to serve in a limited capacity now in his retirement. But for the most part, Zeeland's leadership has been pretty stable over the years.
Yeah, Les was mayor for 22 years, and now I'm in my 10th, so 32 years and having only 2 mayors, that's pretty good.
Very stable leadership, but of course some other people and the council as well. I take note of Sally Gruppen, most notably the mayor pro tem there, who has also been there as long as I've been in this market. And Tim Clunder, the city manager, came over from Algonac during my first year here, 2001, 2002, and has served the city well, is now the dean of city managers in our area. Stable leadership, but also leadership to a certain extent. I don't want to sound like I'm patronizing, Kevin, but leadership that has been willing to embrace some change and be able to make changes on the fly. Am I being flattering you guys too much, or has that really been something that has been a point of pride with Zeeland, being able to adjust to conditions and situations?
Yeah, better be careful, Gary. My head's getting awful big, but no, you're right. And it's probably more staff than city council, but we support our staff, and like you said, Tim Clunder's been here now for quite a few years, and he does a fantastic job. And talking about changing on the run, last year was a good indication of that with the pandemic, we had to change things a number of times. We had to make 2 budgets last year because of the pandemic, and so the finance department did a good job with that, and Tim did a good job leading the city through the pandemic and in the employees, and keeping them safe, and we came through with flying colors, I think.
If you got a question about what's going on in Zeeland, you can ask Mayor Kevin Klynstra at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. What's the general consensus as the mayor, and you get a beat not only your colleagues on council, but also with the city staff as well, about the fact that today we're speaking on June the 1st, many of the health restrictions placed on the state have been lifted. More will be, in fact, all the rest of them will be lifted on the 1st of July if all goes well. What's the general consensus at City Hall? Is it more of a case of, yay, we're free, or are we maybe having a little trepidation because we don't want to have to, go back to some of these mandates. And it's almost like tentative steps. You're stepping out into the water, and the first couple of steps, it's kind of chilly. Then you get used to the water. Is that a good analogy?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're still being careful, and it's not like all of a sudden we're going to go without mask in City Hall. And we're still practicing social distancing inside City Hall. So yeah, we want to be careful. You're right. We don't want to have to do this all over again. We're on the right path, and I think another month. Hopefully, we get another batch of people that get vaccines, and hopefully we reach that 70% mark where they say it's kind of that herd immunity. So Zeeland's been good. The citizens have been good. We haven't had much resistance to the mask wearing, which is good. And but yeah, things are changing though, because last time I was on with you, I was telling you everything that got canceled, but now things are going to be going on in the city like they have been in the past. The Zoom is the one that's going to be coming up first, and the Zoom run, and so that will be taking place on the 22nd of June, which is good, and it's an outside event, so I think it can be safe, and hopefully we get a lot of people come out for that, and I think running is healthy, so that's good too. So keep people in good health, and we didn't have it last year, so I'm sure a lot of people are anxious to get at it again.
Pig roast. Pig out, of course, people are looking forward to in July as well. And it looks like that's going to be a go too.
Yes, and the concerts in the park, the Sounds of Summer is going to take place. It was going to anyway, but now we don't have any attendance restrictions, so it'll be as normal. And so yeah, that's good. I mean, like I said, these are outside events, and I think that's good. We probably wouldn't be doing it quite so early if it were inside events, but because they're outside events, it's a good thing to have in the summertime.
Quick question for Mayor Kevin Klynstra. Has the Zeeland farmers market been reopened? Has it been going on, or is that still a little bit on a hiatus right now?
That will take place. I believe it starts soon. I'm not sure the date, but they have it planned to start sometime this summer.
Yeah, not only that, but also the splash park, which did have limited access, would be more unlimited. And to be honest with you, the dry weather, and even though it's still not hot enough yet, I have a funny feeling that splash pad's going to be pretty busy next to City Hall this year.
Yes, last year we had restrictions on that as well, and as far as how many people could be in the splash pad at one time. And we decided we didn't have to do that this year. And so, yeah, it is open. It's probably not been used too much with the cool weather, but you're right. With this weekend coming up, I think that will be a popular place in Zeeland.
Yeah, dry weather and temperatures creeping up toward the upper 70s. It's and classes. School's going to be letting out if it hasn't let out already, and it'll be a great time to have some fun in Zeeland. If you got a question for Mayor Kevin Klynstra, he'll be happy to answer it at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. One thing, I brought this up a while back with Jack Hulsing, who's the executive director of the Holland Community Aquatic Center, when the pandemic hit in March and April of last year. It was a little bit of a blessing in disguise for the Aquatic Center, because they were able, because they were closed, to start the renovation project and really get going big time on it, so that this spring they were able to reopen a little bit ahead of schedule on the renovation and be able to have a nice facility. Now that, in Zeeland's case, now that we're on the other side, or getting to be on the other side of the outbreak, in some of the efforts to try to upgrade things in Zeeland that could have maybe been accelerated a little bit because there were restrictions with indoor things. Are you seeing perhaps some of the capital improvements, maybe back on schedule, maybe back to normal schedule? Because I know that there were some capital improvements that the city was thinking about before the outbreak. Some of them are going to be continuing, and some of them maybe get back on the right track.
Yeah, it's we did do some remodeling in City Hall when it was somewhat restricted, so that was good. Did some painting in some of the offices and new carpet, but. Yeah, we didn't do a whole lot during the pandemic as far as remodeling, but yeah, we were kind of full speed ahead with our projects this year. We've got the snow melt around the community center and the new sidewalk on the north side of Cherry Street between the community center and City Hall, and will be snow melted. So yeah, our street projects started. Some of them started a little sooner than others. We kind of added a street in that was supposed to start later, so that was nice. But contractors are busy. I'm sure you've heard that it's hard to find a carpenter. It's hard to find a excavator. So yeah, we were lucky that we could get these projects in this summer.
That's some of the capital projects. I know over the last few years, Zeeland has had some road renovations. The Eastern Gateway area was one that was with the state. And then, of course, the roundabout on Washington and Main. That junction was a major project a couple of years ago. Are we getting to the point right now where it's a pause from the street work? Or are there still going to be some street projects that are going to be under some renovation? If I recall correctly, one of the streets on the east side of downtown got renovated last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we did Carlton Street last year, and between Washington and Main, and so yeah, right now we're doing Alice Street, which is probably one of our biggest street projects we've done as far as length. Down on the hill in the Huizinga subdivision, and Pawpaw Drive we're doing. So that's the one that got added sooner. The same contractor was there, and they said we'd like to start that at the same time, and so they did. So that is almost finished. They're ready for the tar to go in anytime now. So yeah, things are going smooth. The weather's been fantastic for street projects because it hasn't rained much. It's probably not so nice for the farmers and people trying to keep their lawns green, but for street projects, it's been fantastic. So things are moving ahead of schedule. And yeah, so we've got a capital improvement list that we approve every year with our budget, and we still have some big projects coming up next year and in the years following. But back in the early 2000s, we decided that we were going to concentrate on our streets, and we've done that. We've added $1 million to the $1 million that we already had budgeted for it. So we've been spending quite a bit of money on street projects, and we're getting ahead, and it's getting to the point where we're almost caught up, and most of the streets are looking good in Zeeland.
Streets are looking good. What about the other infrastructure issues? A lot of times when streets get renovated, you also want to renovate the sewers, the lines along those lines. Those are going okay?
Yes, you're right. When we do a street project, if necessary, we do the sewer and the water lines at the same time. And yes, we're getting caught up on those too. So we're very fortunate in the city of Zeeland that we have the money to do that, and we didn't have to add to our millage for it, and we didn't. Some cities have a special assessment for street projects, and we did that for a couple of years. We added a mill to our taxes, but we took that away, and and now it comes right out of the budget. So like I said, very fortunate that we can do that we have the money that we can and keep up our infrastructure projects. If the United States did that years ago, they wouldn't be in the mess that they are now with infrastructure. They kind of let that go. So, but in the city of Zeeland, we wanted to keep up on that, and we did.
If you got a question for Zeeland Mayor Kevin Klynstra, he'll be happy to answer it at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. One more question, then I'll take a break. And it deals with something that might be out of your control. Your control being the City Hall's control. But certainly Zeeland has been blessed with some very fine employers. Some big name employers that, do, their share. They are pillars of the community, a lot of support for community activities. And I'm talking about companies such as Herman Miller, Gentex, Mead Johnson, Consumers Energy with the power plant. Those are the big names. When somebody talks about Zeeland, they think about those companies first. There's others as well, and I don't want to slight them. Do you get a sense that as these pillars move along, their roots are as strong now in the community as it was, say, 20 or 30 years ago? And in some cases, yes. In other cases, well, it's kind of nice. They're staying here longer and longer and longer.
Yeah, I think they're pretty solid in our community. They've I know Herman Miller just purchased another furniture company, and they are very happy in West Michigan, and they're now, I think they are the biggest furniture manufacturer in the nation. So, you always worry about companies getting bought out and moving out of your city. You look at Greenville with the refrigerator plant that was there that moved out. It's just like anything else. Cities are in competition with other cities, and other cities are always trying to woo the big manufacturers out of your city to their city. And so you have to stay competitive. You try to keep the tax base low. You give them incentives to stay here with tax breaks when they add on. And we've done a good job with that. We've kept our manufacturers happy, I think. And for the most part, I think they're happy with the city and they enjoy working here. And it's not just the city. It's the people that work for them. That we've got a good employee base here that they've got a good pool to pick from, and they're hardworking people. And I think that's one of the reasons why they like to stay in West Michigan.
Yeah, I brought that up, Kevin, because the fact that sometimes we take these companies for granted that they've been here for years, they're going to stay here for years, and all of a sudden, they uproot, they get bought out, or a new owner comes in and wants to make some changes, and another state, another country might entice them out, and all of a sudden, what had been a pillar of the community is no longer a pillar of the community. And I just don't want. A, I didn't want to take them for granted, but B, I'm not trying to slight the other fine companies who do call Zeeland home, be it Zeeland Lumber and Supply. We have DeBrine Seed, a long-time Zeeland staple, and of course Zeeland Farm Services, which is technically not in the city limits, but pretty much their success spills over into the city as well. So, I just don't want to, Kevin, I brought up because I don't want to take those companies for granted.
No, that's right. We do, and hopefully the city doesn't take the smaller companies for granted either. We try to give everybody the same breaks if they want to add on, which a lot of the small companies have. They've added on over the years. And if you ride through our industrial park, you'll see that companies that started out small and now are putting additions on. And it's, that's how most of these companies started. Herman Miller at one time wasn't a huge company like it is now. Gentex started out very small, and now look at them, employ over 5,000 people. So, yeah, you have to keep the small companies happy, and it's just like the big ones. There's smaller ones. Other cities would like them there too. So you try to give them the tax breaks that you give the big companies, and they take full advantage of it. And places like Lakeshore Advantage have been a big plus for this area too. They're kind of the go-between to the cities and the manufacturers. Sometimes the manufacturers don't feel comfortable talking to city staff or the mayor, or telling them how they really feel, but they feel more comfortable talking to Lakeshore Advantage, and they try to iron out any problems that arise. And plus with recruitment, they try to recruit other companies to come into the area. So yeah, Lakeshore Advantage has been a big plus for the area as far as keeping the manufacturers happy.
Good morning. You're on the air with Mayor Klynstra.
Hi, Mayor Klynstra. It's Dave. How you doing?
Good.
Great. Hey, thanks a lot for your service to the city of Zeeland for those many years. I didn't realize it was that much. And just thanks for you taking care of the little community in West Michigan. My question for you is my grandkids want to go fishing. I'm just wondering, where in Zeeland, are there any ponds or anything around where they're allowed to fish within the city of Zeeland, or do we have to go out to the big lake? I would really appreciate a little bit of feedback on that, because I think you're a fisherman.
Yes, I am. You are correct. And you can go to Huizinga Pond, actually, by Huizinga Park. They've, over the years, they did stock that with bluegills, and there is bass in there. So yeah, you can. There's a walkway on the west side of the pond that you can fish from, and you can fish from shore all the way around the pond. So yeah, it's a good place to take kids. They'll enjoy it.
And then we can the parents and grandparents, we can play pickleball over there. Do they have court? They have good courts over there, don't they?
Yes, they brand new ones and a new bathroom facility. So yeah, it's upgraded quite well. And then if the kids get sick of fishing, they can go play at Timbertown.
Okay, so that's the fishing and the pickleball. And then does Zeeland City have any municipal golf courses, or any plans to bring anything on board for it like that?
I wish, but no, we don't have the room for it for a golf course. But I am a golfer, but no golf courses in the city of Zeeland, but plenty of them around the area.
Okay, that's great. Because yeah, I'm pretty sure that your partner John isn't as good a golfer as you are, and I'll be fishing up here on Drummond for a little bit longer. So I hope you guys play well tomorrow.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you very much for the call. 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. With that, Kevin Klynstra will button up our discussion on WHTC's Talk of the Town. Wish you and everyone in Zeeland well, and if all goes well, we'll chat on the 6th of July, day after the 5th of July, which is the legal holiday for the 4th of July this year. So another holiday chat with you, Kevin. Thank you very much. We'll talk again in about 4 weeks.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Gary.
Thank you very much, Kevin Klynstra, 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.